Hi and welcome back to the channel. We are continuing Watchmen. This is episode 3 and it's titled She Was Killed by Space Junk. Another kind of weird long title, even though like we know the previous one, Martial Feats of Comanche Horsemanship, it was referencing the painting that we saw in that episode with the horses and all that before we went into the Ozymandias scene. And this is probably going to reference something that's going to happen, or they're going to show us in the episode, or something. There's a meaning with these titles, at least, I'm sure. But yeah, still very much enjoying this show, or enjoying it so far. We're intrigued by it. Do you want to get into anything before we start this episode, or just talk afterwards?
I am a little bit tired because I've been in a lot of pain today. If I'm a little bit quiet, or if I'm seeming
stone-faced,
somewhat stone-faced, or even angry at weird times or something, it's
we're both feeling a little bit tired. Had a long weekend, and I was up very early today. If you noticed, like, I do look a little bit different than the previous video, at least. My sister just took her hairdresser's exam. I'm not sure what it's called in English. In Danish, it's a Sven.
Trials of Sven.
Yes, in Danish it's a Svenneprøve, which is pretty much just, if you translate it directly, it's a Sven trial, or the trial of Sven. It's weird. Yeah, I'm very certain that's not what it's called in English. But yeah, so she did. She trimmed my beard, and she did a whole new hairdo. With a lot of curls and all that, so that's why I look the way I do now. Just wanted to get that out there. Shall we just get into it? Let's do it. She was killed by space junk.
Stand by for connection to Mars antenna in 5, 4, time. Dr. Manhattan is listening.
Hey, it's me again.
That's totally Laurie.
Shit. I messed it up. Forget that joke. Can I tell you another one?
Money from the fucking drawers now! Everyone on the goddamn floor!
What the hell, Laurie?
Miss Laurie?
Back the fuck off. So it would be super smart for federal law enforcement to tip you off. Of course, you couldn't know you were being set up.
Did she just fucking kill him?
How'd you know his body armor would stop the bullets?
For your own safety and integrity.
He's not a hero. He's a fucking joke.
Are you fucking...
Is she turning a little bit into...
Her dad, maybe? Well, she is using her dad's last name. That wasn't a snake.
No, that was not a snake.
Can I peek?
Watch your fingers.
Is it a custard? It's an owl!
Oh.
It's a hoot hoot!
What's his name?
It's a hooter.
Who?
The owl.
Dan?
Who? That's his name. Ask him yourself.
Tomorrow, the deputy director is going to send you down to Tulsa to take lead on an investigation.
What am I investigating?
Chief of police got hung.
Hanged. You knew him?
A little. Crime's down 80% in Tulsa since we passed DOPA. In other cities,
You called it DOPA?
the Defense of Police Act. And it's such a great acronym that other cities want to jump on board and pilot it.
So it's not worldwide
My name's built on
or countrywide.
that. Those cops have kept the president can pardon anybody he wants. He could even get your owl out of that cage.
That was a very cool shot.
Yeah. Oh. Dan.
Sorry, owl guy. Your heart's in the right place, but you're just too soft. God snaps his fingers, and the hero goes to hell.
So what happened with him then?
What the hell is this?
Oh, it's an excerpt from Rorschach's journal. I just thought, for psychological context, you might want to.
Is it the 1980s, Petey? Then who gives a shit about Rorschach? Next slide.
Well, the 7th cavalry do.
And who doesn't want a secret identity? Right, Blake?
Right, boss.
Peace returns to Tulsa until last week.
It's very common knowledge who she is.
Yeah.
You can't go in there alone.
Fine. I'll take
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yes, that guy.
When in Rome, right?
Tulsa's not Rome. And you're a federal agent, not the lone fucking ranger.
If you want to take a look out the window, we've got a bird's eye view of the Millennium Clock.
The what?
Look on my works, ye mighty in despair.
Ozymandias.
A shout out to Adrian Veidt after she bought his company.
Well, how'd you do that? Asks God. Well, I dropped a giant alien squid in New York. And everybody was so afraid of it, they stopped being afraid of each other. How many people did you kill? Smarty Pants smiles. 3 million, give or take. You're a fucking monster. God snaps his fingers. The hero goes to hell.
Okay, so she's clearly not a fan of what Adrian did.
She just said that.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's just, she's making it very clear.
Sir, I'm with the FBI. Are your civil rights being violated?
These people came into my place of business and they just grabbed me. They didn't read me my rights.
Okay, sorry. I was just kidding. I don't care.
Looking glass is in the pod. You expecting you?
Oh, I sure hope not.
It's gonna be an interesting conversation.
Making off the board.
There's something very menacing about Looking Glass.
I knew it was mine, but could I go next?
I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy.
You know, you wear a mirror on your face, people are going to use it. Or you could just take that silly mask off, Wade.
Is that the squid in the background?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sister Knight obtained the intel in a secondary interrogation.
Is that Tulsa for beat the shit out of him?
I did not personally observe any violence against the suspect.
So, this sister.
But you've heard it?
Do I even need to ask how many people you've killed? A live body and a dead body have the same number of particles, so it doesn't matter. And so, a mere piston in the inevitable machinery of time and space, God does what he did and what he will do, and the hero goes to hell.
Not to surrender any firearms.
We're federal.
Give the man your gun, Petey. Some damn respect.
Anti-vigilante task force.
You know how you can tell the difference between a masked cop and a vigilante?
No.
Me neither. Again.
Wow.
Was that a threat?
She's not like going, around quietly or anything. She's just causing a ruckus.
I can't think of a better person to speak about Judd before we lay him to rest.
What do you think she's gonna...
Is she gonna bring anything up about the
I
plan thing?
don't think she would do it like here.
I told him what I would want him to say at my funeral, and he told me what to say at his.
TikTok?
So long, old pal, it's time your tears were dry.
Oh my fucking god.
I'll do whatever you want. Okay? Take it easy. Here I am.
Well, this shit took a turn.
Do not attempt to follow.
Yeah, I fucking knew she was gonna do that. What the hell is she doing?
I think she's trying to pull him into the hole, maybe, and then cover it.
Wow, she blew up the corpse of Judd.
Get up in the morning, slaving for bread, sir, so that every mouth
Some
can
funeral.
be fed.
That purple mask. Are we back with Mr. White?
I never doubted you, Master.
That, Mr. Phillips, is because you are incapable of doubt.
Is he gonna catapult him?
Are you ready to venture into the great beyond?
Yes, I am, sir.
What the? Semi-obvious CGI before.
Yeah.
What? Who that?
For he's a jolly good fellow.
Nope.
For he's a jolly.
Please consider this your first and only warning. Thank you again for the delicious tomatoes. Your humble servant, the Game Warden.
To discuss this matter further, should you wish to repeat your ridiculous accusations in person. That said, I'm pleased you enjoyed the tomatoes. All best wishes, Adrian White.
Was that the first time we actually got to confirm that that is Adrian?
Yep.
Like, that's the first time we hear his name?
And there it is. I'm just gonna hunt some game
I'm
warden.
not the hero here.
I thought he was bluffing. Those fuckers always say the device is rigged to their hearts, and none of them actually take the time to do it.
Crawford jumped on the grenade. I just gave him a little push.
Shit, can't exhume him now.
That's not funny.
I wasn't joking. You guys just scheduled this funeral so fast, we were literally gonna dig him up tomorrow. Discreetly, of course.
She's honest.
Mm-hmm. Why were you looking in his closet?
Oh, well, when my dad was murdered, they found a secret compartment in his closet, so, you know, I always check.
She knows, she knows. Or, you know, Laurie knows that, yeah. Angela knows.
Who end up hanging from trees with secret compartments in their closets tend to think of themselves as good guys. And those who protect them think they're good guys too. But here's the thing about me, Sister Knight. I eat good guys for breakfast.
Maybe you shouldn't have been so hostile, Laurie.
And where does God go when he dies? He goes to hell. Roll on snare drum. Curtains. Good joke.
Sorry, your time is almost up.
Dr. Manhattan through it. Okay. Alright, that was the third episode. And we're gonna try to do this after talk, review, whatever you say, a little bit shorter than what we usually do. Sometimes we talk for a long time, but it's very late now. We just wanted to watch this episode on a Monday night, whereas like the previous two we've watched on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays and stuff like that. But yeah, we're still going to talk about it, of course. And yeah, what did you think about the episode?
There's some themes in this one I really liked. Because we're of course introduced to Laurie Blake finally.
Yes.
And
played.
She was called Silk Spectre.
Silk Spectre 2.
Yeah, she was the daughter.
Yes.
And she took her father's name, Blake.
Yeah.
And she kind of introduced us to the Watchmen, like the original cast of Watchmen, and the way they did it was kind of cool, I think, because we had this like it was like a squared.
Oh, the painting.
Yeah, with like Night Owl and Dr. Manhattan and Adrian White, and then her in the bottom, and it was her actual like her face right now.
Yeah.
And then when she moved away, we could see it was, of course, her. The whole with her face just completely matching the last fourth of the frame. It was. I think it was very cool.
And it looked like very much something taken straight out of the comics. So I like that as well. It's kind of self-referential in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she told this whole joke about the heroes going to meet God.
Oh. Yeah.
To evaluate whether they should go to heaven or hell. And I think the way it was like she was kind of explaining like morality, I think, and a little bit about like morality and ethics and stuff. And she was kind of presenting these three ways of seeing the world, and with that the three characters like Dr. Manhattan and Adrian and Night Owl, and how Night Owl saved or didn't kill anyone, and then was told he was too soft.
Yeah.
And then we were told that Adrian was a monster because he killed a lot of people and thinking he was saving humanity.
Yeah.
And then the last one was Dr. Manhattan that just completely stopped caring about humanity at all.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that because I'm really digging morality and ethics, and that's also especially why I like Watchmen so much, the comic book, because it was such I don't know, we know all these characters and they're never black and white, and it's always this gray zone. No one is truly good or truly bad, and it's like even Laurie's character was you might think she might be quite innocent, and she was she loved being violent, and we could also see that here that she still had that trace amount of actually loving violence and killing people or killing people in the start, where she kind of it almost felt like she wished for his death, this costumed hero vigilante guy.
I don't even remember his name, but yeah, it was almost like she shot him in the back.
Mr. Shadow.
Yeah, something like that. He looked kind of like Batman in the movie version of Night Owl put together, but yeah, she shot him in the back, and it did not seem like she was aware that he was going to survive that. So, maybe she was going for the kill.
Yeah, so I always like questions about morality and ethics in general. Also, I just started another series called The Good Place, and they are discussing morality and ethics as well. And I just love these ethical and moral dilemmas because
there's no clear-cut answer.
All of us is going to hell anyway. So it's all of us are going to hell anyway, and it's like and that's why I like the whole thing with the she's presenting 3 people with 3 different mindsets, and I kind of felt like it was no matter what you do, even though you have good intentions, even though if your actions are truly good,
or truly bad,
there's always like a flip side to the coin, and you're probably going to hell anyway. So, it's like that with moral dilemmas, because of course you can always attack the utilitarian view. If I kill this million over here, I can save this billion over here. And it's just, well, you can, and that's why I love about morals and ethics, because I don't believe there's a right and a wrong answer. Yeah, so I also read this this interview with Alan Moore about how he created Watchmen as like you have to think of it as some sort of like a jewel, or like some sort of gemstone that refracts facets, and each person in Watchmen is like has like a
side.
No, it's like one of those jewels, and no matter how many, no matter where you look into this jewel, you will never be able to see all the facets.
Okay.
Because it's so, there's so many layers in everything, and in every person, and in every frame, and you will always get something new out of reading them, and you will never get to the bottom of it. And as I said, there is not really any rights or wrongs, and that's what's so great about this.
It's always interesting when they use these moral dilemmas in stories and in something like this, and especially with Laurie and the joke she told. I think that very much mirrors her way of looking at things now, because it seems like she really embraced that, like, she's the daughter of the comedian, because she thought everything was a fucking joke. And that was kind of what I got from the story she told that turned out to be a joke. It's just like, it doesn't matter what kind of hero walks in here, if you're on one side of the spectrum or the other, or if you don't give a fucking shit about anything, you're still going to hell, and even God's going to hell, and it's all a big joke. And she ends with like quoting Rorschach, actually, from his own journal with the snare drum curtain. Good joke. Yeah, and it's, even though it's not a joke, and the story that Rorschach told, as far as I remember, wasn't even a joke as well. It's so, yeah, it's referencing itself a lot, but it gives you an insight into, or we got a lot of insight into some of the characters here, and Laurie, of course.
I kind of like the character, but I don't know if I had a very good time with her, and I think at some point I thought, well, she was amazing.
Yeah.
She was like a very...
she's an entertaining character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and played very well by Jean Smart, is that her name? Yeah, I think Jean Smart, yeah.
But I don't know if I can actually get on board with her actually being like the Laurie Blake from the comics. I shouldn't compare those two, because they're not really the same character in that regard, because of course she's been through a lot since then.
Yeah, it's been many years.
And as much as I am very, very entertained by her character, and I really like to see where this is going, especially with her, I just don't find her I don't find
that transformation convincing, or
it's not the Laurie Blake or like Patrick, or what's her name?
Just Patrick,
or something. Yeah. Well, it's
not the same Laurie from where we left off, at least.
I wouldn't have seen her character go that way if I was to like write it.
Yeah. But
from
then again,
what I got from the comic books.
Yeah.
So of course he probably took a lot of inspiration from her character, of course, in the comics. But I also think that he put a little bit too much of the comedian into her. Rorschach something there. I don't know. It's just
maybe. Yeah. I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah.
It's just not it's not the character that I I don't know how to explain it.
No. I totally get it. Like, and you said so as well. Like, we don't know what she's been through in all this time, and obviously something must have happened to make her worldview like shift in such a way that, because where we left off, as far as I remember in Watchmen, it seemed like she was like the future is looking maybe kind of bright now, and or brighter. It depends on how you interpret it. And she was with Dan, and well, then something happens, and there was something about in this episode about an owl being locked up, and not the owl in her apartment. So, what the fuck happened to Dan? Did he get locked up? Did her world crumple in a way again, and she just got even a more sour outlook on life and just became her father essentially? It's what the hell happened?
So we got these Jolly Rogers in relation to Adrian Veidt, and I think that was a little bit maybe an Easter egg to the small comics on the side about a pirate.
Tales of the Black Freighter. I
exactly.
think,
losing his way, losing his his
sanity, pretty much.
Yeah, but if you look upon it, it's kind of like he has good intentions to start off with. He wants to save his family and his town from these murdering pirates, and it ends up being himself being that monster as it progresses. And that was also kind of sidelining with Adrian's character through the whole comic book, at least. So I just think it might have been small Easter eggs in regard to that, or maybe we'll get it explained. I don't know. It was I just thought it was a nice little coincidence or whatever.
Yeah, but even the letter that he received from the game master, whoever that is, that there was like a Jolly Rogers or like a pirate flag on that one as well, or a pirate logo. So maybe they'll get into more of like the connection between the pirate theme and Adrian Veidt again in this series. But
maybe.
But yeah, what the fuck's going on there?
I have a suspicion,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I've been talking to someone in the comments about this.
Mm-hmm.
He might be maybe at Mars or another planet, or
some sort of bubble reality.
Yeah,
thing.
Exactly. Somewhere that Manhattan created for him, and a sort of like a punishment, like an internal punishment or something. And he's trying to get away from there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very clear that he wants to get away because he made this kind of looking like a cross between a diving suit and a space suit.
Yeah.
And he kind of wanted to, it seems like he wanted to get it up and out.
Yeah.
And when we saw the corpse again, it was completely frozen.
Yeah. Well, the guy again, it was a corpse and it was frozen. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you put people into space, they will freeze like almost immediately if they don't have the proper equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, this was not the proper equipment.
No.
And I do believe that he wants to get out of there. And
in some way.
That's why I think he might be on Mars, because he might be in space.
That could be a big like twist at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why he's trying to build these suits, these almost diver's suits looking.
Yeah, space suits essentially, maybe, or yeah.
Yeah,
and he needed some stronger, better.
He needed something that could withstand
the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That word. So that's my theory, at least, and it just picking up the clues here and there, especially with this suit. I think it was pretty obvious. Of course, I can be wrong in my suspicion, but it kind of just.
This episode kind of almost like validates those suspicions, at least in a way, or that it makes it more plausible, I would say, from the space water suit or whatever that was, and whatever he is doing, and talking to someone who's the game master, but still kind of like the way that letter was written to Adrian was written in a way that it seems like the game master is like telling him to stop, like one warning shot and all that, but I'm still at your, like, I will serve you at your leisure or something. I'm here for you, and I'm kind of serving you in a way. I'm doing you a favor by telling you not to pursue this and not to do it again, because then I will shoot you.
Yeah.
Even like, so who is this guy? Or
it might be one of his clones. And that's also why I think it's like Dr. Manhattan that might have placed him there, because he talked about creating new life at another place on Earth. So maybe he created these clones, and it wasn't Adrian himself that did it.
Yeah.
And this clone is the game master. And he's trying to keep him from going away, because that was kind of what he's programmed to by Dr. Manhattan, and the others are programmed to maybe take care of him or whatever. So once again, it's just a theory, but
it's gonna be interesting to see how that pans out, and if the theory is true, like, how is he going to get out of Dr. Manhattan's little bubble prison, other dimensional place that might be on Mars or somewhere else, but we're guessing not on Earth. That's
at least my theory.
Even though in this one they said something about some people believing that he's in Argentina and hiding there, but yeah, I'm not too sure about that. And what else? The episode ended with the car, and I was so worried for Laurie there, because I was like, okay, something's gonna fall from the sky now, 100%. And then I thought of the title, and I was like, oh, are they just gonna use her for one episode and then kill her off, like she was killed by space junk? But thankfully the title wasn't that literal. So
no, I think it was the name of the Devil song that she played in the start.
Yeah, and I think the title of the first episode as well was also from a song. It's Summer and We're Running Out of Ice.
Yeah, that was from the Oklahoma. I think it was it was not.
But they played it in the episode at least. Yeah. So far we have the titles referencing songs and paintings. So so that's nice. A lot of other stuff happened as well. That funeral thing that was that took some turn, and Angela made Judd throw himself on the suicide bomber in a way that, like, the way they phrased that was interesting. And I think that Laurie came on a little bit too strong and with Angela, because I do believe that it would be in both of their interest if they could work together on this, but it felt like Laurie was probing Angela a little bit too much, and that made Angela be like, oh, well then fuck you, I'm not cooperating with you at all. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that relationship is going to evolve going forward. So yeah, do you have anything else you want to get into?
I am not fully agreeing with Adrian's character as well. I love what Jeremy Irons did to the character, and I think it's, once again, very entertaining. But he's not the Adrian from the comics. At least that the way I saw him. But once again, I'm very entertained, and I do believe that it's funny. It's in its own very grotesque way.
Yeah, and going somewhere, hopefully.
I'm very excited to see what this brings us. Where this brings us.
But he is different. Like, he is acting different, and he's acting more, I would say, like, careless in a way, and like, I don't know.
I just Adrian. Okay, spoiler alert. Adrian was probably my favorite character from the comic books. Once again, because it's he's speaking a lot to my utilitarian heart. So he's, yeah, once again, he was my favorite character from Watchmen. So he's the one I am both the most excited about, but also the most disappointed about, because he's not the character I knew from the comics. And of course, this is another take of on Watchmen, and that's fine.
Yeah, and
it's just different from my Adrian. So it's once again, I'm very entertained, and I really love what Jeremy Irons did to the character. It's just not my character. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's as you said with Laurie as well. We don't know what he's been going through and what's been happening since the last time we saw him, and if our suspicions are true about him being trapped in some sort of dimension or in space Mars where he can't get away from, you would maybe go a little bit crazy and and start behaving differently than you would normally do as well. But I do agree that like he does seem like a bit of a different character, but still very, very entertaining, and I'm so intrigued by that storyline. That's, to me at least, is the storyline where I'm like most interested to see how that is going to fit into anything at all and how it's going to unfold.
I feel like well, of course he's gonna get loose from there. Of course he's gonna get out, find a way to get out. And it's just like, I feel like whenever he gets out, he's just gonna wreak havoc, and it's gonna be, I don't know. It's just
I'm very interested in seeing what he's
intrigued
going to do when and if he gets out of there and gets into the real world and maybe joins the other plot in some way.
I kind of hope he starts a ruckus of some sort. It's gonna be a ball.
Even more than Laurie did in this episode when she came to Tulsa, because she was kind of like, being very sassy at every turn, and
but in another way, definitely.
In another way. And I do just want to mention one thing before we wrap up about this episode. For me at least, it opened the world up a little bit more. The first two episodes we were kind of focusing on Oklahoma and Tulsa, and in this one at the very start we were introduced or reintroduced to Laurie working at the FBI, and we learned that it's only in Oklahoma that they're doing this with the yellow masks, the police, and they're masking up as well and all that. Dopa, yes, that was the name of it, and I kind of like that she called him out on that as well. You called it Dopa? But yeah, it gave us more of an idea of how the world is fitting together, at least a little bit. We don't really have a clear-cut idea of everything that has been going on or has happened since the ending of the comic book. Like the thing with what was it? The tower, like when they were looking out the window on the plane. They were looking millennial clock tower or something. What's that about? And then we saw a quick glimpse of the Washington Monument as well, with kind of like a halo at the top where you could see people walking around up there. Maybe that's just something they threw in there because they were like, maybe we should update the Washington Monument. I don't know. But maybe there are like something particular happened that made it look like that. I don't know. It's just, I like that we're getting these glimpses and these insights into the bigger world, and they're opening up a little bit. I like that. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it, I think. We're at least pretty damn tired, both of us, and we ended up talking for a little while, even though we said we would try not to. But it's hard not to talk because there's a lot to get into, and there's so much to dissect and a million different ways to look at every single stuff that's going on in character. And you've even talked about Alan Moore with he compared the comparison with the diamond and looking at it in different facets and all that. And you totally get some of that here as well. Yeah, my mind is fried now, at least. I don't know.
I'm practically sleeping as we speak.
I'm so sorry, honey. All right, yeah, that's gonna do it for this reaction and review of the 3rd episode of Watchmen. Before we both just shut down, thank you guys so much for watching as always, and we will see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.